Because I need to win somehow.
Talk with the hiring managers. That's why I want to read lines.
For me, the only thing that I'm a little bit more hesitant in terms of tech and AI specifically.
Dealing with people is actually hard.
That's cheating.
When you see that person succeed, it's worth it.
¿En serio vas a hacer claqueta? Hi, my name is Andrea. I'm Talent Acquisition Manager here at Factorial. I've been in the company for a little bit more than 2 years. My background is a little bit mixed. It's between talent acquisition, hospitality, and also account management. And a fun fact about myself is that I have a twin sister.
Hi everyone, I'm Raquel. I'm Tech Talent Acquisition Team Lead here at Factorial. Previously, I've been working in HR. And a fun fact about me is that I'm really bad with directions. I even get lost with Google Maps on.
It's time for a Zen rapid fire round. Here's how it works. We ask a question and whoever responds first gets an advantage. And there is a prize at the end.
I think you're closer.
If you could describe HR in one word, what would it be?
Difficult.
I don't know, I just got wrong when she said difficult.
I just grabbed it and I was like, I need to say something now.
That's cheating.
Do you prefer virtual or in-person interviews?
I prefer in-person interviews, but I understand that virtual interviews save you a lot of time, and it's easy also for candidates like to adapt in terms of scheduling and so on. But in-person interviews get a lot more information, you get to know the person better and so on, yeah.
What's your favorite question to ask ChatGPT?
I think it's mostly with creation of rejected emails, actually. It's actually a little bit of a copy of what Raquel said. We want to make sure that we give feedback to the candidate, super important, but at the same time to give it in a nice way so that we also have the good image.
If you were an HR superhero, what would your superpower be?
Read minds.
What's the most underrated task you do on a weekly basis?
Talk with the hiring managers. That's why I want to read lines.
If you could create a movie about your life, what would the title be?
Because I need to win somehow. And from the title of my life...
But you don't know it. I know it already.
Oh, I have the thing.
Okay.
I would say the winner of opportunities.
Okay.
Now you can say.
It looks like it's 3-3. So
Vamos.
you're both winners?
Yay!
Yeah, so you both get a cactus.
Thank you. This is so sweet. Qué mono.
Picture this. You have 5 roles to fill and 2 weeks to do it in. How do you ensure the interviewees are the best fit?
If the manager doesn't know what they want, this is going to be extremely difficult for us to make sure that we're, as fast as possible. If there's a good alignment with what the manager wants together with the CV screening, then we can make it.
Usually people say that it takes 5-10 seconds to do a CV screening. That's true. But it's just the first time I see a CV. Then I can take for 10 minutes to half an hour reviewing one CV because I'm checking everything. I'm checking the companies, I'm checking the different works, I'm checking the competences, I'm checking everything in the CV because I want to make sure that these people that I'm moving forward to an interview are the ones I want to get an interview with.
Is the job market broken?
Ooh, this is intense. Some companies that unfortunately need to go through some layoffs or they're just not going in the right direction. There's also economical crisis and stuff like this that are external factors that are always very much involved in when it comes to recruiting. In our case, we do see a lot of CVs that are extremely different and sometimes it's a bit more hard to put them in the right direction.
That was a few intense questions. So would you like some tea?
I would love that.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Let's go for it. Thank you. Great. Cheers.
What are 3 must-haves for a candidate to determine whether they're a cultural fit?
If the candidate is not a cultural fit, there's no way that we're gonna have the candidate. Even if they have the amazing background, the amazing experience, if they're not a cultural fit with the company, we know that this is not gonna be a success.
Do you think technology is changing the way we hire?
AI, it's my biggest friend ally in hiring, 100%. I save a lot of time with the emails, but I also save time with the job posting. Like, okay, write me the job description for software engineer. Before, I had to create the template.
For me, the only thing that I'm a little bit more hesitant in terms of tech and AI specifically is I'm not sure if you've seen a little bit of the news, but there's some companies and like some first ideas on having an online recruiter. It's created and generated by AI, but I do feel that in recruitment especially, you need also always to have the human touch, the personal side.
Are there any tools you use that make it easier?
In terms of tools, we stick very much to our ATS, where we have everything recorded and everything well settled, candidates, feedback and everything. And then LinkedIn is also our main tool, of course, of sourcing and stuff. And then we have Airtable. For me, Airtable is the Bible, just because we have more of a manual tracker of all the open positions, the closed positions. It's very easy also to get some data and records out of there.
Now, we really want to know what it's like to walk a day in your shoes. So, what's the funniest or most unusual experience you've had during an interview?
I'm sure there's going to be several examples. Give it a start. When I started here at Factorial, I was looking people for sales, and I had an interview with someone, and that person, I don't know if they were studying or I don't know what they were doing, but they were at the library. So decided to take on the interview at the stairs of the library because she didn't want to be inside the library, of course. So they moved the interview outside the stairs, and she was whispering. Although she was outside the library, she was whispering. And at some point, I was whispering too. Why did I whisper? Like, I was not at the library. I was not at the stairs of the library. Yeah. But yeah, it was a really weird situation.
In my previous job, I had to prepare people for interviews, not do the interview, but prepare people for the interviews. So there was a guy that when he switched on his camera, he was literally like half naked. So you could see him in bed, laying down half naked like this. And he was telling me that he was ready for the interview. So I told him, hey, you're not ready. So you better like put yourself some clothes, prepare well for the interview, look for a blank background, and really make sure that you're ready for the interview.
Because it was not for modeling, right?
It was not for modeling.
Okay.
What's the most bizarre LinkedIn DM you've gotten from a curious applicant?
I remember one. It was not the email, but it was more like the subject of the email. And it was like, I don't understand why you haven't interviewed me yet. And then you read the message, and the message was better than the subject. Maybe it was like too harsh. Like it's like good. Something in the middle I think would be better. Like, because it like sounded a little bit of an attack.
What's the most unusual or memorable job application or CV you've ever received?
There was this case that actually everything was like aligned in a way. So the candidate applied for a position, but it wasn't that position. But when I met him, I was like, you're perfect for this other position. So I sold the other position. Then the interviews happened on like the same week, the 3 interviews that they were supposed to happen. So again, everything was like perfect in timing, perfect aligned. And then when we presented the offer, this is the only thing that he took a little bit longer to sign, so that's the only thing that I was like heart attacking. But he signed, and he started right when it was supposed to be. He could even have the handover from another person. And day to day, it's a person that it was an amazing hire, extremely cultural fit, and we're super happy about him. So this is my perfect one.
A bit of a cheeky question. Are they still with Factorial?
Oh yeah, he is.
If you could travel back in time and give advice to your younger self when you started in HR, what would you tell them?
Dealing with people is actually hard, so you have to be resilient. Understand like you're going to go through tough situations, but when everything's great, like all those moments, for example, when you find the right candidate, when that person joins the company, when you see that person succeed and grow and so on, like it's worth it.
Oh yeah, it's the most rewarding thing. We give opportunity to people.
Exactly.
And these people then, you know, grow within the market, grow within the position, the companies. So that's the most rewarding thing.
So thank you so much for all of your stories, tips, and insights today. Is there anything else that you would want to share?
Just like and subscribe.
Yeah, and thanks for having us. It was great.